Imagine a world without Romeo and Juliet, without Hamlet's to be or not to be, and without the countless phrases we use today like wild goose chase or break the ice. It might surprise you, but one man living over 400 years ago shaped not only theatre and literature, but also the very way we speak. That man is William Shakespeare. His story isn't just about plays and poetry. It's about a boy from a small town in England who rose to become the most influential writer in the English language, leaving a legacy that continues to shape movies, books, theatre, and even everyday conversations in America and beyond. William Shakespeare was born on April 23rd, 1564. In Stratford-upon-Avon, a small market town in Warwickshire, England. His father, John Shakespeare, was a glovemaker and tradesman who climbed the ranks of local politics, even serving as mayor of Stratford for a time. His mother, Mary Arden, came from a respected farming family. The young William grew up during a fascinating time. The Renaissance was sweeping through Europe, sparking creativity, discovery, and new ideas. Yet his childhood was also marked by challenges. For instance, just months after his birth, the plague swept through Stratford, claiming many lives. Somehow William survived, a reminder of the fragility of life, a theme he would later explore so powerfully in his plays. Unlike the glamorous images of him we often imagine, Shakespeare's early years were fairly ordinary. A small-town boy, surrounded by local markets, rivers, and countryside. But even in that simplicity, he absorbed stories, traditions, and the rhythms of common people's speech, all of which would later find their way into his works. While we don't have detailed records of Shakespeare's schooling, historians believe he attended King's New School in Stratford. This grammar school focused heavily on classical education, Latin, rhetoric, Greek mythology, Roman history, and literature. Imagine a teenage Shakespeare poring over works of Ovid, Virgil and Cicero, memorizing speeches and practicing how to argue persuasively. These classical foundations shaped his storytelling abilities. For example, Ovid's Metamorphoses directly inspired many of his plays, including A Midsummer Night's Dream. Interestingly, there's no record of Shakespeare ever attending university, a fact that has fueled centuries of debate. How could someone without formal higher education create such profound works? Some skeptics even questioned whether Shakespeare really wrote the plays attributed to him. But most scholars agree his genius was born not just in classrooms, but in his sharp observation of human nature. By his late teens, Shakespeare's life took an unexpected turn. At 18, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 26 at the time. They soon had 3 children, Susanna and twins Hamlet and Judith. But how did a young father from a modest background become the world's most celebrated playwright? That's where the mystery deepens. Historians call the years between 1585 and 1592 Shakespeare's lost years. We don't know exactly what he was doing, though theories suggest he may have been a teacher, a law clerk, or even a traveller. What we do know is that by 1592, he surfaced in London as an actor and playwright. His earliest plays, like Henry V, were already making waves in the competitive world of theatre. Not everyone welcomed him, though. One critic, Robert Greene, sneered at Shakespeare as an upstart crow, mocking him for daring to rival university-educated playwrights. Yet Shakespeare proved unstoppable. He became a key member of Lord Chamberlain's Men, a theatre company later renamed the King's Men under King James III. His partnership with this troupe gave him stability, fame, and platform for his plays. During his career, Shakespeare wrote 39 plays, 54 sonnets, and several narrative poems. His works spanned genres, comedies, tragedies, histories, and romances. From the witty banter of Much Ado About Nothing to the heartbreaking tragedy of King Lear, he displayed unmatched versatility. Shakespeare's list of achievements is staggering. Language innovator, he is credited with coining or popularizing over 700 English words. Words like bedazzled, gloomy, swagger, and lonely all trace back to him. Even in the United States, much of modern English owes a debt to Shakespeare. Master of the human condition, his characters were not cardboard, heroes or villains. They were complex, flawed, deeply human. Think of Hamlet's indecision, Macbeth's ambition, or Othello's jealousy. These themes still resonate in American cinema and literature today. Cultural reach. Plays like Romeo and Juliet didn't just stay in 16th century England. They crossed borders and centuries, inspiring operas, ballets, and Hollywood films like West Side Story. In fact, many American high schools still study Shakespeare as a core part of their curriculum. Political relevance, his histories, such as Richard I and Henry V, explored power, leadership, and corruption. These themes feel as relevant in Washington, D.C. today as they did in Elizabethan England. Survival through plague. When theaters closed during plague outbreaks, Shakespeare didn't stop creating. He turned to poetry, producing works like Venus and Adonis and The Rape of Lucrece, which earned him patronage from nobles. So why does Shakespeare still matter today? First, his plays are timeless. Every generation finds itself in his stories. Whether it's teenagers in love, Romeo and Juliet, leaders grappling with morality, Julius Caesar, or families torn apart by pride, King Lear, his themes are universal. Second, his influence extends far beyond the stage. In America, Shakespeare is everywhere. Broadway reimagines his plays in musicals like West Side Story. Hollywood adapts him constantly, from The Lion King, inspired by Hamlet, to modern teen films like 10, Things I Hate About You, a retelling of The Taming of the Shrew. Even politicians quote him. Abraham Lincoln, for example, was deeply influenced by Shakespeare's words and often read them for inspiration. Finally, Shakespeare transformed language. Without him, our conversations, books, and even pop culture would sound drastically different. When we say fair play or all that glitters is not gold, we're speaking Shakespeare. From a small-town boy in Stratford-upon-Avon to the world's greatest playwright, Shakespeare's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. He wrote during plagues, political upheavals, and fierce competition, yet his works endured. He wasn't just an entertainer, he was a mirror to humanity, capturing love, ambition, betrayal, joy, and sorrow in ways that still move us. More than 4 centuries later, Shakespeare's words echo on stages, in classrooms, in films, and in the very language we speak. His life reminds us that greatness can emerge from humble beginnings, and that stories, when told well, can transcend time, geography, and culture.